Hi community of awesome, I'm Ava J and this is Bookish Pixie. A while ago I had someone ask me if I could do a vlog on perspective do's and don'ts. I write in first person most often, so let's talk about first person. When writing in first person, here are some things you should and shouldn't do. Don't start every sentence with I. Naturally, in first person, you're going to be starting a lot of sentences with I because your character is narrating from their perspective. But you do want to be careful not to start every sentence with I because it gets noticeable when you start every sentence the same way over and over and over again. This is something you don't want to worry about while first drafting, but when you're revising, take a look at your sentence starts and make sure you vary them up. Don't break from your point of view character's perspective. This is something I frequently see in manuscripts I edit, especially in first person, where there will be point of view slips. A point of view slip is when something happens in the perspective of a character other than the point of view character in the point of view character section. So for example, if in a first person perspective the character said, "Mom thought I was skipping school again," and the parent hadn't actually said that, then that can be considered a point of view slip because the character can't know for sure that that's what their parent thinks. You can easily fix this though by saying, "Mom probably thought I was skipping school again." By putting the probably in there, you're indicating that this is what your perspective character thinks their mom is thinking. That isn't even the best example, but the point is you have to filter everything from your perspective character, and your character can't know what other characters are thinking and feeling without some evidence. A better example, say your perspective character is turned away, and then the next sentence is something another character is doing that your perspective character can't see because they're turned away. That's a point of view slip. So long story short, make sure you stay in your character's perspective at all times in their perspective section. Do integrate their thoughts and emotions throughout. This is a frequent thing that I critique in manuscripts that I edit because oftentimes I'll find that I couldn't really connect to the perspective character, in large part because I frequently didn't know what they were thinking or feeling. This is important to remember in any perspective, but it's especially important in first person because first person is the most intimate perspective. The idea with first person is that you are in the perspective character's head, so anything that they think and feel, the reader should know about unless they're deliberately hiding something. So if the reader is reading a first person perspective and really knows what that character is thinking or feeling, it's going to feel really distant and cold, and it's going to be difficult to connect to that character. And lastly, do remember that your narrative should sound like your perspective character. Voice is important in all perspectives, but it's especially important in first person because first person is voice. In essence, in first person, the character is speaking directly to the reader. That means all the words and phrases that you use in your narration should be words and phrases that your perspective character would use. If you're writing a multi or dual point of view book, then the reader should be able to open up to any page and immediately know which character's perspective they're in just by reading a couple sentences. That's how strong and distinct each first person perspective should be. While I was revising Into the Black recently, I had a point where I wanted to make sure that Cora and Eros's perspectives were distinct enough, and I actually ended up laughing at myself because I realized very quickly it wasn't going to be a problem. What basically happened is I was scrolling through my manuscript and I came across a section where Eros describes something as an ugly AF predatory bird, and I started cracking up because Cora would never ever say that, and also she'd know the name of the bird. Also, he actually says it, I'm just censoring because I know my audience is a little younger here, hey guys. Anyway, that's an example of distinct voices and making sure that your characters speak the way they would actually speak. So that's what I got for today. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and comment, and I'll see you guys next week.